It's speech time, guys. You guys ready to listen to my speech? Alrighty. Hello, my name is Lain, and I'm a graphic and web design student who is not only learning about the importance of graphics and web, but I'd also like to consider myself constructively practicing developing my very own online presence. In order to have a successful website and have viewers frequent your site, the web developer or designer must carefully plan, properly develop, and spend time with dedicated promotion of your website. So let's take a look at the most important aspect of a website. Content is key. First, you want to ask, what are you trying to convey with your website? Are you trying to put out information, offer insight and or advice, showcase your artwork, example an art portfolio, or tell a story? Next, you have to ask yourself, how do you want to present your information? Is it going to be strictly formal, or is it going to be fun and personalized? Then you need to ask what supporting elements are to be included in your website. Pictures, charts, media and videos, graphics. What is the name of your website going to be? Now, the first and most important is to keep it simple. You want to make it stand out amongst the crowd, and you also want to have multiple choices in case the first selections are already taken. Then you need to ask who's going to host your website. Considerations that you want to think about it for your hosting plan are the amount of bandwidth, cost, ease of use, customer service ratings, is it upgradable and or expandable, any perks such as email, useful utilities or offers, and etc. Now we get into developing a website. Here we have a basic website layout, which consists of the top tier being your home page, and then all your other sub pages, which are also your main sections, and then within those main sections are subsections, which is the content, the meat of your website. While doing that, or in the development of that, you would want to start off by doing what they call a sketchboard, which basically gets your ideas out into the open. And after you do your sketchboard, you want to decide what kind of layout you want to use. Is it going to be what kind of layout you want to use? We have two of the most popular layouts. We have the header, we have the sidebar navigation, content, and a footer. And on this one, you have a header, a small navigation bar on top, content, and a footer. Once you decide on those variables, you would then start sketching out your website on paper. Or you can sketch out on what they call a wireframing program, which is essentially the same thing as sketching, only you're not actually using paper and pencil. And here's another example of sketching out a digital mock-up. You need to be sure to take detailed notes and document everything. You want to know what kind of fonts you used, pixel dimensions for your content, being your header, your navigation, content boxes, footer, and anything else that's on there. And you would also want to get your color values, being either RGB values or hexadecimal values. And once you do all that, you have a completed prototype. And here we have a completed prototype that was done in Adobe Photoshop, which is commonly used for developing the first part of your website. Next, you would want to set up your folder structure that is going to house your website. And here we have a basic folder structure, which has your images, your JavaScript, so on and so forth, and your style sheets. Now it's time to take that mock-up and turn it into code. The objective here is to take what you've done in Photoshop, which is basically the look of your website. You want to take that and turn it into this, which is your HTML code, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and that is what your browser reads to display a web page. You should choose the method that best suits your skill set. You have choices of a text editor, a WYSIWYG editor, or there's specialty software that allows you to build websites. Text editor. Text editor is basically a glorified version of text editor, which is usually on your Windows machine, or it's also called text edit on a Macintosh machine. And then you have another option called a WYSIWYG, which is an acronym for what you see is what you get. Adobe Dreamweaver is an example of a WYSIWYG, in which you have your code view and you have your design view, and they're both interchangeable, and you can work out of either or. You design it here in the design view, and it populates the code up here, and vice versa. And Apple's iWeb is also an example of a WYSIWYG, in which rather than using code, you just drag and drop your content into the working window and arrange it how you see fit. And then there's an example of specialty software, which an example of that would be Media Lab SiteGrinder, which works with Photoshop. It's a plugin, and what you do is you name your layers according to their instructions, and once you do that and you execute, you will then have a working HTML document complete with CSS. After which, you will want to check and test your website. You need to check your spelling, your grammar, your punctuation, the tone, the details, and your copy. And you also want to make sure that you don't have any test copy remaining on any and all pages. Then you would want to check your your links, and to be sure that they're all working properly and none are broken. And then you would finally want to run your code through W3C's code validation services. And then you would want to check your website in all browsers to make sure they render correctly. Instead of installing all these browsers on your machine, you can use Adobe's Browser Lab, which essentially runs your HTML code through all browsers rather than installing them locally on your computer. And once you're done with all that, we get to the uploading portion of the development process, which you would use a FTP client software. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol, and it essentially, you drag and drop your web folder, and you drag it onto the web server, and success, you have a working, functional website. And after which you would want to promote and market your website. Word of mouth, friends, family, colleagues, and anyone else who is in your circle appears as a great way to market your website. Or the use of social media, which, as you can see here, the list goes on and on and on and on. And here's a breakdown of all the different social medias and what categories they fall in. After which you would want to do extensive search engine optimization, or SEO, and you would follow the tiers starting at the base of the triangle, working your way all the way up to the social media. And I have discussed today what it takes to successfully build a website. In this speech, I've explored the key factors to have a successful website. To have viewers frequently visit your personal digital soapbox through careful planning, proper development, and dedicated promotion. So the next time you're surfing the internet, you now know the fundamentals of what it takes to get you to the site, and more importantly, what makes you want to go back time and time again. Thank you.